Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com, and I'm doing another quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending July 4th, 2016. Happy birthday, America! This is episode number 50 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week is that Rise of Icarus from Nexon started its Head Start Early Access program, which means anyone that bought a Founders Pack can start playing. Starting July 6th, which is a Wednesday, this Wednesday, the game will open up to everybody else. Both Aion and Matt have been playing and streaming the game, and both are generally enjoying it. Now, the only odd thing about the Rise of Icarus launch is that the game's level cap is quite low. It's level 25 at launch, and that can actually be reached pretty quickly. Luckily, Nexon already announced that a content update set to launch later this month, which will raise the game's level cap to 35. I think the Korean version is up to around 60, so the Western version should hopefully catch up pretty quickly, but we'll see. Next up, we have another game that launched this week. HeroWarz from COG Games entered open beta, rather abruptly, might I add. 2 days after the game's closed beta ended, they just came out and said open beta is live without any prior announcements, and that's usually pretty rare, but it's definitely good news for those looking to check the game out. And then again, they did have 2 rounds of closed beta testing, so I guess they wanted to push it out as soon as possible. I played the game a bit, and I know Sean did as well. If you don't mind these instance MMORPGs, it's definitely worth checking out. The combat is pretty straightforward, but it's quite fun actually. Now, my one minor complaint is that you do have to install a browser plugin to launch the game, which is pretty dumb. It's 2016, we shouldn't have browser plugins to launch client games, but apparently you need one for HeroWarz. Next, some pretty big news from Blizzard Entertainment, and it's not Overwatch related this time. A new job listing has been spotted over at Blizzard's website, and it looks like they're hiring a new game director for an unannounced Diablo title. Yes, they're making a new Diablo game. The job posting specifically states they're looking for someone to lead the Diablo series into the future, so it'll definitely be something new. As is, it could mean anything from a brand spanking new Diablo 4 to a match 3 mobile game, or anything in between. If I had to guess, I'd guess it was a mobile RPG of some sort, but that's just my speculation. Keep in mind, anything they're working on now will be years before it comes out, so patience will be required. And now, moving right along, we have an update for Lineage 2. The game's Helios update is now live and introduces some new content, including a new zone called Dreadnought Superior, which is complete with 3 new raid bosses, each of which are giants. So the update is largely giant themed. The update also includes 5 new factions, as well as the removal of the game's level cap. Despite the game's age, NCSoft is still releasing updates for it. The game's been out since 2003, so it's been running for a cool 13 years now. That's impressive. If you haven't played Lineage 2, it's actually a pretty fun game. I played on a private server ages ago, and I think a lot of players as well. It's one of those games that did really well on private servers. Next up, some news regarding Albion Online. The game's current beta will end on July 18th, and the final beta will begin on August 1st. But before the servers go down, there'll be some big community events going on the 17th to celebrate the closure of beta. The final beta will introduce some major changes to the game, including a new world which features new continents and biomes. The mountain, swamp, and steppe biomes will be available right away on August 1st, with the forest and highland biomes being added later into the final beta. There's also some drastic changes being made to the guild versus guild system. In fact, it's being overhauled completely, as well as changes to the game's crime and reputation systems. Albion Online has changed quite a bit since I first played, and I look forward to seeing how it shapes up as we get closer to a full release date, which we probably won't know for a while still. But the game is making progress. Up next, the Black Desert Online Valencia Part 1 update is finally live after nearly a month after it was originally supposed to be released. A full set of patch notes has been published on the official website, but some of the big changes include the introduction of the desert in Black Desert, as well as upping the max upgrade for gear to plus 20, which will require likely an incredible amount of silver. Guild houses have also been introduced to the game and can be acquired through an auction system once every 2 weeks. Glad to see the update finally live, and hopefully they fix the siege issues so they can start resuming those soon as well. But yeah, Valencia is live, so go check it out. Next up, Rose gets a new second job path in Elsword Online. The job paths are both Wild West inspired and are Bloodia and Crimson. Players can unlock the Bloodia job at level 15 with the Crimson Rose job at level 30. I remember people were saying COD Games copied Dungeon Fighter Online's F Gunner with Rose. I want to remind people that Rose is actually a collaboration with Dungeon Fighter Online, so they worked with Nexon in some capacity to make Rose, thus the similarities. As always, COD Games always releases awesome trailers for their updates, so I always enjoy mentioning them. Next up, a pretty big update for Aion called Echoes of Eternity is set to launch on July 13th. Some noteworthy aspects of the update include 2 new zones, new instances, an increased level cap to 75, which is pretty huge, new gear, and more. And some of these features seem similar. It's because it follows the path of the South Korean update, which launched back in November of 2015, so the Western version isn't that far behind. Up next, we have an update for an oldie. Rappelz Epic 9.4 is set to be released in the West. Rappelz updates, for those that don't know, are called Epics, which actually sounds pretty epic. It's set to launch later this year, and it'll be adding a new zone to the game, new items, quests, and more. Webzen also announced that they'll be shutting down their hardcore server, so players on that server have to transfer their characters out by the end of the month, I believe, otherwise they will be deleted. Luckily though, you get free server transfers out, so it won't cost you a dime. Rest in peace, hardcore servers. And yes, the video in the background is for Epic 9.1 because they didn't release a new video for 9.4. Up next, Neverwinter is set to launch on PlayStation 4 on July 19th. We finally do have a release date. It was announced in the past, but now we have a concrete date. It'll be launching with content all the way up to the Maze Engine update. Those that buy the Head Start package can start playing on July 12th. I feel like the whole Head Start package thing is becoming a norm in MMOs now. An extra way for developers to make some money. Up next, Wildstar's Heroes Evolved update is now live on the public test realm. The update is making major changes to characters, including the ability for players to purchase a jump to level 50, the game's level cap. So I guess they're following the footsteps of World of Warcraft and several other games with this feature. Players can also level multiple paths now and switch between them at will. Players can also change their race and gender with new items in the cash shop. And more so on the gameplay front now, players can also multi-queue for multiple instances for either solo or as a group. And Chuas in the game can now play as warriors, and Orans can now play as engineers as well. It's all in the test realm already, but there is no set schedule for a live push just yet. The next and last bit of news this week is that Tera's Aces Wild update is set to launch on July 7th and introduces some new PvE content aimed at level 65 players. Also including the update is a new PvP battleground, expanded flight zones, and some more cosmetic wardrobe storage. The update is called the Aces Wild update because it adds the Aces dungeon system where you can play some of the older dungeons in solo mode with escalating objectives for rankings, rewards, and other goodies. And again, this update is going live on July 7th. And that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later, guys.